everybody, and welcome back to my channel for this Wednesday morning, afternoon or evening across the world where you may be at. And welcome back to my channel, my friends, family, subscribers, viewers, and welcome to the new subscribers, friends and family to the channel. I hope you're all doing well today. And today I've got a video for you about autism and small talk. This topic is something that really does irritate me. This is a topic that does get repeatedly brought up within the autism and the disability communities from what I've seen on forums, etc. And as an autistic woman and someone with an anxiety disorder, I thought I would talk about it from my own perspective and what I think it is. And this is what the medical dictionary definition says. What is phatic small talk communication? It is a form of communication to provide warmth and openness and to give the appearance of being pleasant and approachable. Small talk is the common everyday communication methods for neurotypical people and the expected common talk for everyday questions such as, how are you? What are you doing? What is the weather today? As people on the autistic spectrum, from my own self perspective, we struggle to give compliments or understand these basic boundary questions, or when to start or to stop a conversation with people we may know or we may not know. We also may come across like we don't care or we're not being genuine because we struggle to process emotions and basic everyday communication. So small talk for me is mega annoying because it's things like, oh, why can't you look at me when you're talking? What's wrong with you? Why aren't you answering me? Like, it's them everyday standard definition questions that I just can't handle. And for a lot of people, small talk, especially people on the autistic spectrum, it does really frustrate us because, again, we're not good at small talk. We like to talk at length, in depth about a subject. We like to talk about our special interest. We like to start a fluent conversation. We like to interact with you. We're not someone who does this, oh, hi, how are you? Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I've got this and this and this going on. And how's the weather? Yeah, oh yeah, it's sunny outside. No, because we're not really into the weather, or we're not really into small talk. We're not really doing something that's the everyday standard, everyday conversation. We're people who like to talk in depth. We like to explain things. We like to research things to the point where we may cross a boundary, and people go, oh, I wasn't expecting you to know that much, or oh, yeah, I wasn't really asking you the true, like, in-depth question. Like, when someone says to me, how are you, that really irritates me because it's like, well, do you want the real in-depth answer of how I am, or do you want the standard, oh, I'm fine, I'll talk to you later kind of answer? Because, again, for people on the autistic spectrum, we can't read minds, we can't read your intention or your body language, so again, we do have to struggle with trying to know where that boundary line is, whether you want the whole truth or just a quick, oh, I'm fine, talk to you later kind of answer. And it really does get quite frustrating because we're trying to read the boundary line and trying to read body language that we just don't get and we don't process in our heads. So again, that does really frustrate me. Also, what is up with all the multifaceted questions? So when you're doing small talk with someone who may be autistic or neurodivergent or disabled, why do we have to have all these multifaceted questions? Why are we expected to always answer these with oh yes, I'm fine, but this, and oh yeah, I believe this and this and this, but whereas now, like, we don't get multifaceted questions. We want a yes no answer. We want something that's direct, to the point, so we know what we're talking about and where to end the conversation or where to begin the conversation. So when you throw us all these multifaceted questions, it can be really quite agitating because we don't know what to do or how to answer them or how to come across. And that can be really appear for us that we're being quite rude and selfish and standoffish when we're actually not. We're trying to talk to you. So again, when we try to understand banter or jokes, again, this is another everyday communication thing. We don't do small talk banter, we don't do small talk jokes because, again, our brain doesn't process banter or jokes or sarcasm or humour that well. Especially with my own self, I don't process it too well at all. I struggle to pick up humour until someone has explained the joke to me or explained the banter to me. And they're like, oh, Gemma doesn't get it, oh well, let's move on. Like, oh, or they'll say, oh, finally, Gemma's clicked it, you know, oh, she's finally figured out what the joke is. So, you know, it's kind of, we have to try so much to fit into society that it's not even real. Like, we have to figure out so much sensory stimuli and sensory input. It's just not even funny. Small talk to me is just really agitating and not needed. Like, it's, for example, like shaking of the hands and giving constant eye contact. Like, why the hell should autistic people and people who are neurodivergent or disabled need to give you shaking of hands or demanding eye contact. No. When did we become such a demanding society? Like, why are we expected to talk about this or expected to behave in a certain way? We shouldn't be expected to be out of our comfort zone. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, this is just not right. And also, when I already have so much information in my head going around and around and around and around all day, every day, and you expect me to look at you and shake hands and to make social chit-chat and small talk, it really does make me feel overwhelmed, overstimulated, and quite anxious. And as you can see, my body gets quite hyped when I'm anxious. I tend to go whoop and put my shoulders up and tend to kind of be a bit more rigid, and I get physically and mentally exhausted. So that's where you see my anxiety starts to play up, because I do struggle to keep myself under control when that happens. Small talk for me and people on the autistic spectrum or people who are neurodivergent also, we struggle to have enough mental energy to process everyday small talk. So again, it can be things like, oh, how are you today? What sandwiches are you having for lunch? Oh, what soda are you having? Oh, are you having water? Oh, are you having coffee? Are you having tea? Like, how many choices is that? Like, give us one set of instructions and let us answer it that way. Don't keep giving us instructions that we can't do or we get overwhelmed with or overstimulate, because again, that does put us into a bad stead and makes us appear like we're being rude, self-destructive, rude, abrupt, abhorrent. Like, no, we're not. We are just mentally struggling with what you're expecting us to do, because small talk is not normal to us. Small talk is just irritating, if I'm honest, and not really needed and shouldn't be really expected of us to do. I know it's a Western world expectation of how to communicate and how to approach somebody and how to communicate within the workplace or a friend or a family, but again, for people on the autistic spectrum, this simply cannot happen. So again, about being approachable and being pleasant, that is a self-perspective in itself, because if you choose to be approachable and pleasant, people will more likely come over to you and make conversation, get to know you. It shouldn't be based off expectations by society or the media or what people think you should do. They should get to know you based on your own merits, rather than it being, oh, you must be approachable, oh, you must be pleasant, oh, you must be functionable. No, why? Like, small talk is so agitating. It really needs to stop, and it really should be a thing, to be honest, if I'm honest anyway. So, yeah, I just want to talk about this subject. It does really rattle my cage a little bit, and it's something that I think shouldn't be done. And again, especially with the shaking of hands, so I've got a bit of food in my mouth, or the constant eye contact, or be expected to pay attention to you all the time, and makes it, oh, well, I know this, or I know this, or I know this about it. No. Let us talk when we want to talk. Small talk is just not normal to us. Small talk is something that we switch off from. It's something that we find really uncomfortable. It's something that's not in our everyday brain processes to be able to do, and to be in crowds and social scenes, social situations. And hopefully you guys have kind of got a better understanding of what I'm trying to say. Please give this video a like, a comment, a share, and a subscribe. And I will see you next time. Bye.